Okay, so we're now recording. So we have here three people. We're going to discuss some issues. My name is Franklin, and I'll let Alan and Yahya introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Alan, and I'll be taking, I guess, the white nationalist position.
My name is Yahya, and I am Muslim.
Okay, so Alan, why don't you start? You can discuss your concerns.
Okay, well, the main issue regarding the West today, I think, is the idea that the founding stock of the West, the European-based populations, are being basically bred out of existence. We're having our birth rates suppressed by feminism and other means, and new people are being brought in to replace us. And so it looks like we're going to have a really bad time in the next few decades before disappearing entirely, and I think that's a bad thing.
What do you mean by replacing you?
Well, the United Nations has an actual term called replacement migration, which is to say that not exactly native, but the founding populations of Western society are not breeding at a replacement birth rate. We're having less than 2.1 children per woman, which it would take to renew ourselves. So they're bringing in immigrants mainly from the Middle East and Africa to replace us. That's literally what they say they're doing.
Alan, this is like going on for a long time. Like the African American was moved here, for example, long time ago. You see what I'm saying? And they never happen to replace because from our perspective, this universe is like for everyone, is not just like for certain group. We disagree, for example, with the Jewish. They are the chosen people. Therefore, like we kind of disagree also, like any other group to be the chosen people. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like is very well known. Like God, He create all of us, and He bless us, all of us, on this earth, and He put sufficient provision for everyone. It does not like if I come to live in your city, does not mean I will eat your food.
Well, under the current conditions, it perhaps does, even if that's not your intention. I wouldn't say that European descent people or European Christians should spread out and take over the entire world. But the trouble is that no one's even leaving us any place in the world. There is no, European homeland or Anglo-Saxon homeland. See, if England was still England, well, then you could argue, well, if I didn't like the new multicultural New Zealand, I could just go back to England. But then there's a multicultural England where I can't really practice my culture. So that's the problem, not that I want the world to be European and Christian, but I just want, even a small part of the world to be that way, but they're denying us even that. So I absolutely agree that everyone should have a place, and that's the problem. We don't have a place.
You will not have a place when you have like as I said for you, like the way to think, like my place should be like for example Jewish only, or should be for example like white only, because right now, like as you know, like most of the government right now is kind of like leaning toward what they call democracy, even though if they are not like practice it, but at least they claim it. Therefore, like everyone is allowed to enter every piece of land. You see what I'm saying? And we cannot say, for example, uh, like no one from the like Arab allow in Israel, for example. You see what I'm saying?
Well, but they do not to that extreme, but they do actually restrict immigration, permanent immigration to Israel by race.
They, they do, but they didn't succeed.
Yes, well, I mean, Yahya agrees with you, Alan, on Israel, but let me ask Yahya. Saudi Arabia doesn't allow unlimited immigration from Pakistan and Bangladesh. Should they?
Should they what? Should they allow or shouldn't?
Yeah, should they allow? Should they allow people from Pakistan and Bangladesh to freely settle in Saudi Arabia? Because then it would stop being an Arab country and it would become a Pakistan Bangladesh country.
Not really. No, not really. Like, I don't know what you mean by immigrant, but like as you know, like Saudi Arabia right now has like billions of workers. Yes, they don't give like a green card. They don't give. This is true, but like I don't like to say like uh, double like if Saudi Arabia like 40 million right now is 20,000 native and 20 million native and 20 million from outside. You see what I'm saying? And don't like forget about the green card, about nationality. Like there is like some people will come to settle in this country, you like it or dislike it. Some people will go to settle in England, you like it or you dislike it. This is the reality, and we should like try to look from the kind of like a practical way, as God said, like He make you like degree over each other. Degree over each other means like maybe Alan today is rich and I am poor. I need to work for him, and he need my service, and I need his money. This is the way God created this universe.
Yeah, but so the difference between England and Saudi Arabia is the thing you asked me not to talk about, which is the green card. The point is that Saudi Arabia seems determined to protect its culture by not granting permanent citizenship to people of other cultures.
You know very well I'm not from Saudi Arabia, correct?
Correct.
Okay. But I'm speaking about the reality. Like so, it's Saudi Arabia is a place for everyone. Like there is a people from all over the world. Even though I may disagree with some politics issues for the leaders, but this is not our issue right now. You see what I'm saying? But like what I agree and what you can see, like if like everyone is welcome from all over the world into Saudi Arabia. Like they have people Muslim and non-Muslim. They have people like from every, I don't like to say almost every country over the earth today. You see what I'm saying? Therefore, like I don't like to go to the route of the religion, but like unfortunately, this is the reality. As I said for you, like the creator, he create us this way. Like it's very difficult, like to yeah, like, maybe you can block a city, but like a country is kind of like is not a practical to block a country to say, you know, this country is just like this group only. Like the Jewish today, like in Israel, they try to do this, but like they didn't succeed, and they will not succeed.
I don't think anyone's saying that they don't want anyone to enter particular countries. It's fine for people to come to the West as tourists or to study or to work temporarily, that's fine. It's just like I've worked overseas temporarily, but when my job was finished, I had to leave that day. And that's I just think it should be the same for the West. That's how it is in most places.
Uh, this is like I will say like it should not be like taken from perspective of like group, like as we said, like for example Jewish, or for example like white nationalist. It should be like something like uh, agreed by the like whole population, like okay, this is a standard, like if my job is finished, leave. But Alan, remember,
Yeah.
this will not like uh, achieve the goal you are looking for. This is will not achieve it, because like this means like Yahya will come to sit like in your city for a couple of years for study. Let's say Yahya finish after 2 years, like X or Y or Z will come after Yahya and will settle. And this didn't achieve your goal,
Okay,
correct?
but the,
Or,
but the
or,
people
or
aren't the people aren't going to be voting or participating in the government or being given jobs instead of me or influencing the. They'll have some influence on the culture, but much less than if they were allowed to stay permanently and become citizens.
I don't know really, like, as I said for you, like, do you think, like, let's say, like, we reach this uh, country which, like, allow not anyone to be citizen, okay? And they will apply what you are saying. Is this will make the white nationalist happy? Uh, because, as I said for you, this scenario does not make the white nationalist happy, because still Yahya will come to your city, and the X will come to your city, and Y will come your. It means anyway you have to live with those uh, others
Well,
group.
perhaps that should be restricted a bit as well. We've had this before in New Zealand before the 1970s and America before the Immigration Act of 1965. We had policies that were to my liking. It wasn't an exclusively European country, but it was generally there was a limited amount of immigration, and those accepted were generally able to integrate into the uh, population after a couple of generations. That they didn't stay completely separate like a lot of, let's say, Hispanic people have or Jewish people have, and presumably Muslim people will.
Then, like, you know, like we Muslims, if I'm allowed to speak in the behalf of the Muslim, we Muslim, we don't have any problem. Like for example, like for example, like let me tell you, like in Saudi Arabia, uh, I am, I think I cannot go to settle over there because of their regulation and their law. You see what I'm saying? Even though I'm a Muslim,
Yeah.
okay, but like as Frank said, like if I don't have visa to stay over there, I will, and it's very difficult for me to get the visa. Today, like they are welcoming like the European and the West more even than the Muslim. Okay, this is the policy over there today. Okay, uh, but as I said for you, like uh, if you look to the issue from just like group and race, you will you will be tired. You will be tired. But like if you look from the religious perspective, as Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the messenger, he said like 1500 or 1400 years back when the Islam came, he said like all of you belong to Adam, and no one should feel like he's better than his brother you, your heart will be kind of comfortable because this is a reality. Like you will find in any place in the world, some people from the poor country coming to work and they will settle there because, again, like you may find some job you don't like to do it. Like, for example, sewage, like pick up trash. You will not, you, Alan, will not be able to do it. Therefore, some people, God creates them in a low level, and this is wisdom from God. He make us, like as we said, level, and said like to live together, to like to form a community. There is some people high, some people low, some people middle, and this is wisdom from the creator to us. You see what I'm saying? If you try to go against this nature, you will fail. Let me tell you, like a failure story. We see it today. Like God said in the Quran, for example, He didn't request like, or He didn't demand from the Christian to create the monkship. And what happened? They created, they take the oath on themselves. They will be monks, will be like devote ourselves to God. But this is against the nature of the human being God created. Therefore, what we see today is a few from them, they fulfill their commitment, but a lot of them, they fall in the sin of betraying themselves, means like uh, abusing children and women, as you see it in the newspaper. Why? Because they are going against the nature God created. Any generation will go against like the norm of the of the creation, they will have hard time.
So, I mean, isn't it human nature to form nations and tribes? And actually, in this case, I would I would quote the Quran itself to back me up. 49:13 says, "O mankind, we created you from a single pair of male and female, and made you into nations and tribes, that you may know each other."
They may know each other. You see, I was waiting for you to finish. You may know each other means like you will find Yahya in your city. You should not kick him out. And Yahya will find Alin is in his city. He should not kick him out. This is the norm. You see
Well,
what I'm saying?
it's kind of easy for you to say when it's your nation coming into the West and not the other way around. I mean, if there was a deliberate government program in your country to suppress the birth rates of your people and then bring in lots and lots of European Christians, so it would be a European Christian country in 50 years' time, would you be as enthusiastic about that situation?
Already, Alan, like in my country, we have the three religion. I never, and this is an honest. I don't know. I may already told Frank about it before this moment, but I will repeat it again. Frank, if you heard this statement from me, confirm it or said no, I didn't hear it. But like I said, I think I said to you before. I used to live in my country. We have Jewish, we have Christian. I never knew the word discrimination until I came to the West because we grow up in this like umbrella of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our prophet, when he said, "All of you belong to Adam, and Adam were created from clay, from dust. Therefore, no one should feel he's better than others." Means there is no favor for Arab over non-Arab, for Muslim over others, for rich over poor, for white over black. There is no favor for anyone. You see what I'm saying? Therefore, because we grow in this umbrella, like we were like kind of, uh, I believe, comfortable. We never reject any group. It's the opposite. Like when we used to see like a foreign person in our country, if he asks like where is this square, you will find a volunteer people taking him like by their car to this square or to this city or to this place. You see what I'm saying? because we were encouraged to take care of the stranger in the Quran. Therefore, as I said for you, like we don't have a problem. We never thought like we are trying to replace white or black. We never thought we are trying to replace. It's just like uh, it's just like an kind of like opportunity. If I find opportunity in US, I will go. If I find it's exactly like it should be. This is the norm of anyone. Like when you find opportunity in this city or that city, you will go to take it. We
That
should.
may be how certain Muslim individuals genuinely feel, like I believe you, but I don't think that's the plan the people at the top have. They do seem to want the founding stock of Western countries to be replaced, and they're bringing Muslims and others in on that basis. So, I'm sure lots of Muslims are perfectly good-hearted and think, oh well, there's opportunities there, and they want us in there, and we'll be good citizens and all that. But that's not the intention of the elites and particularly the Jewish establishment that's bringing people in.
Okay. For the Jewish, they have this different perspective, as you know. The Jewish, they consider themselves, they are the chosen. Okay.
Yeah.
Therefore, this is their creed. They are the chosen, means they are better than Yahya and Allen and X and Y and Z. For the Muslim, it's completely different story. First, you know very well, like if you like the Western country in general, they are control the politics around the world. They even control the Muslim country. They say, like, I believe if you are current in the in the political situation, you will see like U.S. and England and France, like they control. I don't like to say the majority of the Muslim country today. Therefore, if they feel what you are saying correct, means like we have a plan to just replace Muslim in France and Muslim in US and Muslim in England to take over, you will not find like there is peace, but like the top of those country, top politician, which is a like just consider like they control everything behind the scene. They know very well this is not in our creed, this is not in our plan at all. It's the opposite. We were like, for example, the Palestine, those which is the majority in New Zealand today, they were kicked out of their country and they are fighting to go back, while they are not. They don't have the rights to go back. This is just an example.
So actually, let me try. I'm going to try to argue a little bit on Alan's side, but step by step. So just going back to the quote from the Quran, Yahya, we'll keep this simple. It says that God created nations. This is unlike the monks. So the analogy between monks and nations is not fair because the monk is unnatural and the nation is natural and created by God. Is that fair?
This is fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then the meaning of a nation. Is a nation just a piece of land, or does it also include the culture of the people who live there?
It's include everything.
Okay, so if God created nations, nations are natural, and it includes everything, then is it reasonable for a nation to try to preserve itself?
For sure, there is, but like without discrimination, yes.
Discrimination on what? I mean, for example, they shouldn't allow, let's say, a hostile army in, right? They should discriminate against a hostile army. Do you agree?
For sure.
Okay, so then what is an acceptable discrimination and what is unacceptable discrimination?
You tell me. Like, you mean like when I come to work in your city and you kick me out, you say this is hostility, like from me to you to come to work in your city? This is what you meant?
Well,
Or
so So I'll answer your question. I mean, if we define a nation to include the culture, then an immigration, any kind of immigration that would destroy the culture, should not be permitted. So you can have limited immigration of other culture, but you can't have unlimited immigration because then you would destroy the culture. Is that fair?
This is like if there is, if you put it this way, I will accept it from you. But let me ask you: is a Muslim who put this law?
No, the nation. I mean, the point is, it's not part of religion. It's not. It's not related to religion. It's related to
Okay,
culture.
yeah, this is what I'm asking you. Like, is a Muslim who planned this and like they have a plan and to make it this way, or is your leader in your country?
Well, clearly it's the traitorous leaders of the West. So yeah, the Muslims
Ye-
aren't the core problem, but they kind of are becoming part of the problem or a symptom of the problem.
I like this is the way you see it, Alan. This is the way you see it, Frank. But like as I said for you, like today, like the West is the leader. The West who like put the law and like let everyone else in the
Yes,
world.
absolutely, and they're the bad guys.
You see what I'm saying?
They're,
Like
they're effectively genociding their own people.
yeah, like today the Muslim like like the majority of them from the third world country. Therefore, as I said for you, like for example, like if I'm not able to enter Saudi Arabia except with visa, and this visa has a limitation, I will not have any problem to not enter New Zealand or England or any other country with the same regulation. You see what I'm saying? But
Right.
but again, this is your leader, correct? Then
Yes, well, we need to change that.
then
That's what needs to be changed.
then your problem is with your leader. Your problem not with Muslims.
Well, it's primarily with our leaders, but the immigrants, whether they mean to or not, are kind of part of the problem. So I'd ask immigrants of their own initiative to think about not coming, maybe, or going back to their countries and making those countries better.
Do you think this is realistic?
No, there has to be legal changes in the West.
It has to come from your country, brother. It has to come
Well, yeah,
from your country. It has
I
to come
think
from your leader. You see what I'm saying? Like if your
you're
leader,
largely right. Yes.
yeah, we have to be kind of realistic, my brother. Like as I said for you, Muslims they don't have Muslim is not like a lot of Muslim they would love to go to live in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has a regulation. As I said for you, I cannot go to live over there. Okay, therefore the leader of the country they are the one who mandate and put the law. Therefore, I should not be killed. I should not be like kicked out. Is because like I try to find opportunity.
Well, ideally, what would happen is the law would change, and you'd be given some period to leave, and maybe even compensated, and that would be fine. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's going to happen under current regimes.
But
Yes,
Alan, I
this.
would go
Yeah.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Alan, I would point out that the Western nations are largely responsible for this because, in cooperation with Israel, they're undermining Arab countries. So, in other words, you can't blame the Muslim immigrants for the fact that the West has undermined the governments of the Arab countries, and so basically forced people to have the economic necessity to move.
Right. I absolutely agree. The bad guys are the Western and Jewish establishments, and they've created the situation. But the thing is, you can't get around that the immigrants are part of the problem. That's what they're doing is understandable. I don't really blame them, but they're still a problem for the West, for the
So, look,
founding
actually,
stock.
I didn't properly introduce myself. I'm not Muslim and I'm not white nationalist, so I'm a neutral third party. And my basic concern here is I think that the Muslims and the white nationalists should try to understand each other. I mean, instead of blaming each other, they should both of them should recognize that the other is not the enemy. The enemy is liberalism and Judaism. And the energy wasted by both groups being hostile to the other is just wasted energy.
I agree with you on this, Frank. You see what I'm saying? Like, as I said, for you, we Muslim, we don't hate. Okay, it's very clear in the Quran. Like, I believe also I told you this before. Like, in the Quran was written, even you hate a group, don't let this hate lead you to injustice. Therefore, like as I said for you, like I agree with you or disagree, I have to be just and fair for you. And I believe this is like a normal demand in order for this universe to have a place for everyone. You see what I'm saying? Like not because I am black, for example, you hate me because the color of my skin, or not because I'm a Muslim, you hate me because of my religion. You see
There,
what I'm
there, sh-
saying?
there should be a place for everyone, but it probably should be physically separate from other ethnicities and cultures that may be incompatible, because if we have to live under the same legal system, then laws that benefit one group are going to be oppressive for another, and vice versa. As an example, yeah, go on.
Alan, I mean, don't you think each group should be able to define themselves as they wish? In other words, if a nation wants to define itself as a Muslim nation and wants to allow in all races, shouldn't they have the right to do that?
Uh, they'd have that right. I mean, I wouldn't advise it myself, because different ethnic groups evolved for their different parts of the world and may not really fit in under the same system.
Well,
So I would think that's a bad idea, but I don't care what people outside the West do. They can do what they want.
yeah, so basically, I believe that my personal belief is that groups should be allowed to define themselves as they wish. And I don't care about race personally. So I wouldn't care I think religion is more important than race. But if one group wants to define itself by race, another group wants to define itself by culture, another by religion, I mean, I think groups, nations should define themselves as they wish.
Yes,
Well,
and go ahead.
well,
Go.
they may be biologically incompatible to some extent. For example, there are different breeding strategies. What one strategy is to have as many children as you can comfortably support, which I would argue that European people tend to lean towards. Another is to just have a lot of children and hope for the best, which I would argue that African and some Muslim populations lean towards. Now, that's perfectly valid, perfectly. There's nothing right or wrong with, or there's nothing wrong with either of those strategies. But what happens when they're crammed into the same country and it's a Western welfare state is that um, white Western taxpayers end up having to pay for the raising of other people's children, which is unfair. And that they have to suppress those people from having children, which is unfair to those people. See, I don't want to oppress other people either. Now, the solution is for each group to separate, have its own country under its own set of laws that suit them, and then they can sink or swim on their own initiative.
Alan, even though this what you said right now, like I think it's kind of like unfair, but like I don't have problem if the country decide to do so. But again, is like is not the problem like the people who come to my country. The problem is the leader of my country who allows this. Therefore, like I should not have problem with a minority in my country or with any minority. You see what I'm saying? Because again, uh, like you are allowed as a if you are in New Zealand to state saying, okay, I don't accept any immigrant, and for sure the Muslim will not force you to come in. You see what I'm saying? But
Right.
as long as you are feeling what you describe right now, I think could be wrong, but like what this is what I think. You will not be comfortable because this universe was created for everyone, like from the time of Adam, as you know, the first man, like some of his kids was beautiful, some was like like not beautiful, some was dark, some was white. Therefore, this is the norm of this universe. And I'm not saying like you don't have to associate with white because you feel comfortable. No, Islam does not, like as Frank was saying, like there is no problem like for you to say, for example, I am comfortable between the European and I will sit with a European because uh, I feel comfortable. But it will be very difficult for you to say, you know, not to allow like others to be around your group because it's very difficult today in like today is very difficult.
Well, that's the problem that nationalists are trying to address. And it's not just that we're living in a mixed society now, we're actually going extinct as a people. They're, if things keep on the way they're going, in 100 years' time, there won't be any English-speaking, in my case, Anglo-Celtic New Zealanders, but also English people, Scottish people, white Americans. We won't exist in 100 years' time if something isn't done. So it's not just that a multicultural society is a problem, although it is for various reasons. It's that we're actually being wiped out. And if your own genocide isn't the end of your people, isn't worth fighting back against, then I don't know what is. Nothing is. If avoiding genocide isn't worth trying to avoid, then you may as well just shuffle off immediately because your life has no meaning.
I don't know, but like I think Alan, you are I don't know, like you are trying to play the role of God, but like this will not happen. Uh, Not because I would I disagree. No, this will not happen because this is the norm, as I said for you. This is the norm from the beginning. Like you will find, like in every city, like some Muslim in every city, there is some Jewish in every city, and if we have if the Muslim they have this mentality of killing everyone to live, I will tell you like during the golden era of the Islamic civilization, uh, we like for sure like we will end most of the people living in the country, but like it didn't happen. We went to Spain for 800 years. Then the Muslim were kicked out from Spain because, as I said for you, we have this mentality of living together, and we never, for example, like execute all the Christian over there. It was the opposite. Like after 800 years living with a Christian in Spain, uh, when the like European came, they execute and they force the Muslim in Spain either to convert to Christianity or to leave the country or to be killed. Therefore, this mentality is not like a mentality of a Muslim. It is the opposite. Like God takes a covenant on us in His book to live with the Christian, to live with the Jewish. Yes, to tell them about Islam, but not to force any religion on anyone. Uh,
Well, I think that's not 100% true. I think the strategy of Islam was a sensible conquest strategy. I mean, if you were just going to kill everyone, that would cause them to fight back harder, and that would also cause you wouldn't be able to tax them or use them in further conquest. So I think the strategy of gradually encouraging them to convert to Islam was just a sensible, pragmatic one. I'd still guess that Islam is a conquest religion. That's not to criticize it. I mean, it's been very successful.
This is your feeling. This is your feeling. This is not the
I
reality.
think most people in the West would probably agree with me.
Okay, let me ask you, Alan.
On that.
The Christian, the Spanish Christians, as Yahya said, survived for 800 years as in dhimmi status under Islamic law, under Islamic rule. Would they have survived 800 years under Jewish liberal rule?
No, they'd go extinct like we're going extinct now. You're absolutely right.
So my point is that white Christians would be better off in England under an Islamic government than under a liberal government.
Okay. Well, we don't want to have to make that choice. That's one thing. You're probably right, but the point is they're not going to get that because the elite will have plans installed to take down Islamic rule just as they've taken down white Christian rule. And in the meantime, they'll be turning Islamic girls into worthless sluts and Islamic boys into useless pansies, just as they've done to white people in the West. So we'll still have liberal rule, but they'll just be ruling over a bunch of brown people instead of white people.
So that's I agree with you, but again, my point is that the conflict between Muslims and white nationalists is a tragedy because there's really nothing. I think there's really no criticism no valid criticism white nationalists can have against Islam, because Islam is preferable in every respect to their own liberal governments.
Well, I'd be happy if white people would, if like 100 years ago, the West had mass converted to Islam, I think that would have been a good thing, and that, but that doesn't mean we necessarily want to be physically occupied and conquered by other Islamic people.
All I'm saying is, I mean, I think we covered the conquest issue. I don't think that Islamic conquest is basically a problem. If Islam is confronted with a weak culture and conquers it, they will preserve the religions and cultures in the land they conquer. So the real enemy, in my opinion, is liberalism, because liberalism destroys the peoples under it.
Yeah, I think we all agree on that.
So, I mean, the message I hope that comes out from this recording is when I look at both, white nationalist forums and Muslim forums, the Muslims hate the white nationalists and the white nationalists hate the Muslims. And this is wrong.
I object. Okay. I disagree. I don't hate, really, like, it's not because Alan, is not because we are on the air, if we are on the air. No. As a Muslim, any Muslim, he understands his religion. He does not hate a race or a group. He could hate an action, but he could not hate a race or a group. Therefore, I may disagree with Alan, but does not mean I hate Alan. Okay? And as I said for you, remember when we spoke about the issue happened in New Zealand, I said really it's not in our head, for example, I'm going today to replace a white guy, or it's not in our head at all. You see what I'm saying?
But it's in the heads of people letting you in.
Okay, if you consider it this way, this is your own opinion, and it's up to you. I don't have any problem. But like again, any Muslim he knows his religion, he does not do this. But as I said for you, I don't know, like from where you get your background about the Muslim and their plan and their like, but like I believe you need like to look into this very closely. If you do, I guarantee for you, you will change your opinion.
Well, Islam isn't the main problem. Replacement migration of anyone is the main problem.
Then, as I said for you, if this is your own problem, I will really recommend to change it with your leader, is not with Muslim, because as I said for you,
Yeah.
if I find opportunity in your city, I will come for it, as any normal European found opportunity in Saudi Arabia today, they go to Saudi Arabia. This is the norm of the human being. Look into
Well,
Saudi Arabia, because right now it's like kind of like a booming market. There is a lot of European going over there. There is a lot of maybe white also. Maybe they have the same opinion like you, but they're running after the business. You see what I'm
well,
saying?
I think on the subject of hating other races, I think you don't have to hate people to not want to live next door with them, from them necessarily. Like the fact that I lock my apartment at night doesn't mean I hate the entire rest of the world, but I don't necessarily want them in my apartment. And it's the same with any a company or a sports team or a country.
This is
Not everyone's compatible to live together.
this is true in the base of your home, yes, and maybe in the base of your village, yes, but like not on a base of a country,
Well,
because
I
because
think it should be.
because I think you should not speak in the behalf of all the white, because there is a lot of white they disagree with your opinion.
I think well, people consistently vote against mass immigration, so not most people in the world don't want to be replaced. They want to live with their own kind in a country with laws of their choosing. They don't want to be invaded and replaced by other people.
I think we're going in circles here because I thought
Yeah.
we reached an agreement and now we've lost it because I think we agree that nations have the right to preserve their culture. They shouldn't prevent people from visiting, right? So in
Right.
other words, they shouldn't lock the door to visitors, but they have a right to protect the general culture by restricting immigration. So I think all of us agree on that. So I'm not sure what issues remain. I mean, I think the main things we should want to talk about are things that would be valuable information for both white nationalists and Muslims. So Yahya objected to me saying that Muslims hate white nationalists, so I withdraw that statement. But I still, based on the forums that I've seen, I would say that Muslims see themselves, they see their primary adversary in terms of groups as being the white nationalists, and then they embrace the liberal government. So, for example, even in my local mosque, there was a talk on the Friday talk, basically praising the government of New Zealand for its actions after the shooting, when in fact those actions were designed to take rights away from the people and increase the power of the government, and just use the shooting as an excuse to do so. And the reason that in the forums that the Muslims support that is because they're fooled into believing that the white nationalists are their primary adversary, and that the government is on their side, which is simply untrue.
Well, exactly, and but it just shows that the Muslim presence is part of the problem, because they will take the side of an oppressive government against its own citizens.
But so will most whites, Alan.
Yeah, well, we certainly need to put our own house in order. No doubt about that. But the trouble is, by the time we do that, we may be so diluted, such a minority in our own countries, that it will be too late. So that's why mass immigration, although it's a symptom. It really is becoming the problem itself.
Well, I don't have the answers. I don't have the solutions. I would just say that both groups are currently focused on the wrong thing. I mean, it's sad for me because I think that if the two groups were acting more in their self-interest, they would both benefit and they would cooperate, and it would be to the benefit of both groups.
Well, I think we've reached a kind of half agreement. Do we want to continue now, or should we, if we've got other things to say, should we leave it at this
I believe
for now?
1 hour is more than enough for today, and like we can reschedule something else later.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I've got a couple of other things I want to talk about, but let's do it another day. I've got things to do.
Okay. So I will thank you, and I will stop recording now.